It's getting interesting, and we will be watching from the sidelines because we want to know what's going to happen next. I just read that Russian troops have arrived in Niger, and there's dozens of them, and they have equipment. And according to the report, the reason why they are there is because they are expected to install a system and also teach Niger's army how to use it.
On the tarmac of Niamey Airport, a Russian jumbo jet carrying military equipment. On board, military instructors from the Russian Ministry of Defense, who make no secret of their mission here.
We're here to train the Nigerian army using the military equipment that has arrived here. We're here to develop military cooperation between Russia and Niger.
A strengthening of cooperation made possible by an agreement between the junta and Moscow. With this delivery, Russian forces will begin the installation of an anti-aircraft system in Niger.
That is why they're there. But the interesting part is that Niger just a few weeks ago kicked out US troops. Well, at least they communicated and they told them that they want to cut the military cooperation, like they want to cut ties. And the reason behind it was many, but the main one was because US was dictating Niger on who they can be friends with, who they can be as allies, and Niger just snapped and said, no, this is too much for me. Like, I don't like this treatment, and we don't appreciate it, as well as we don't want to accept it. So they said, no, this is a toxic relationship and we want to cut ties. So US has been begging, has been saying, like, think about it, has been saying, let's have a talk. They've also just recently said that they haven't heard officially from Niger. So, you know, they're getting mixed signals from Niger, which is just weird because Niger spokesperson actually made an announcement and had a press conference, and we all heard it, what he said. Actually, I can show you what he said.
Government of the Republic of Niger announces to the national and international public that the 12th, 13th, and 14th of March 2024, its representatives, under the authority of His Excellency, Mr. Ali Mohammed Lamine Zeine, Prime Ministers had a series of work meetings with an American delegation comprised of the Assistant Deputy Secretary of State for African Affairs, Head of Mission Mrs. Molifi, said Dr. Celeste Wallander, Under Secretary of Defense for International Security Affairs, General Michael Langley, Commander-in-Chief of AFRICOM, and Ms. Kathleen Fisben, Ambassador of the United States of America to Niger. In terms of protocol, the arrival of the American delegation did not comply with diplomatic customs. Indeed, it was unilaterally, through a diplomatic note, that the American government informed the Nigerian government of the arrival date and composition of its delegation, as well as meeting with the authorities of Niger, without specifying. Concerning the purpose of his visit, it is therefore out of courtesy and following our ancient traditions of welcome and hospitality that the government succeeded with the American delegation. On this substance, the exchanges between the two delegations focused primarily on the military transition underway in Niger. The cooperation between the two countries, especially in military cooperation and the fight against terrorism. Niger's political orientations and outlooks in their aspect related to the choice of partners on the diplomatic front, military and strategic. It being understood that in the American approach, all these three issues are deeply linked. On the ongoing transition and the return as soon as possible to a constitutional and democratic order, Niger's government confirms its commitment to quickly restore constitutional life. This is a solemn commitment made in full responsibility by the President of the National Council for the Safeguarding of the Homeland. Head of State, as expressed in his address to the nation on August 19, 2023, on the selection of diplomatic, strategic, and military partners. The government of Niger regrets the stance of the American delegation to deny the sovereign Nigerian people the right to choose their partners and the types of partnerships that can help them To truly fight against terrorism, even as the United States of America, they have unilaterally decided to suspend all cooperation between our two countries. Also, the government of Niger strongly condemns the condescending attitude led to the threat of retaliation from the head of the American delegation.
So for, the US to claim that it was never communicated, I don't know what that means. Maybe we're missing a part. Maybe there's like a protocol that they should follow. I don't know. But that's what they were saying. And clearly they're pressed about this because one of their biggest military base is in Niger. And they've been flying drones there. They've been, God knows what they've been doing there. So yeah, this is getting interesting now that they've cut ties with the US. And then now inviting Russia over and Russian troops are on your land as we speak is definitely going to ruffle some feathers, and we will be watching. We'll be watching to see what's going to happen next because it's quite interesting, right? Anyways, fam, let me know down below what your thoughts are about this. What's your opinion about Russian troops going to Niger, teaching Nigerians how to use certain equipment and all that, as well as US just losing it over this. I am Wangel Zalalam. I'll see you on the next one. Stay blessed. Bye. This just in, fam, I just saw this story coming out of Niger, and it looks like the people of Niger went out to the streets to protest and also say that they want the US troops to leave Niger ASAP. Watch this clip.
Hundreds of demonstrators took to the streets of Niamey on Saturday, demanding the departure of American troops some 3 months after the last French troops left the country. Protesters have vowed to continue demonstrating until all American forces leave the country.
This mobilization is the Nigerian people's call to the American government to set a timetable for withdrawing its troops from our country. We hope that the American government will take precautions to prevent any escalation.
Previously, our authorities were against military agreements with the French, and we supported their stance until the French forces departed. Today, we are once again demonstrating to demand the departure of American forces from our country. We request that the Americans leave our territory. The United States must recognize that Niger is a sovereign state. Just like them, we are free to establish relations with whomever we want, as long as it is done in the spirit of mutual benefit.